Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hi guys! So we are going to talk about qualitative research design. First of all, let me introduce myself and my partner on this group. So my name is Nadya Putri Solikhah.
My name is Muhammad Farhan Yeza, and beside me,
And my name is Zafran Ghifari.
And my name is Khalid.
So there are five types of qualitative research design, and also there are 47 keywords that we need to match to each types of qualitative designs. So the first one is case study. So first we selected non-experimental design. Why? Because a case study is not an experiment. That's why we don't need to manipulate variables, but instead observe the phenomenon in its natural form. And second, we chose bounded system. Every case study needs clear boundaries, whether it is one school, one class, or one community. Without that, the study would become too broad. And next, we also included multiple data sources. So case studies always require data from different sources, such as interviews, observations, and documents. This makes the findings stronger and more reliable. And we also highlighted real life context because case studies focus on real world situations rather than artificial settings. And another important keyword is unit of analysis. It is necessary to define what exactly is being studied, an individual, a group, or an institution. We also added key informants since they are the people who provide rich and valuable information for the study. Then there is within case analysis because case studies emphasize analyzing a single case in depth. And we also considered case boundary definition, which is essential to clarify the limits of the case we are studying. And finally, and last, we chose in depth interview as it is a key technique in case studies to deeply explore participants' perspective and experiences. So these are 10 keywords that we have matched to case study.
okay, thank you, Khalid. Next, uh, ethnographic research design. The first keyword is non-experimental design. Ethnography is a type of qualitative research. It does not use experiments or control group. Instead, the researcher observes and describes people in their natural settings. Next keyword, researcher immersion. The researcher must become part of the group or culture being studied. This helps the researcher understand the group's way of life from the inside. Next keyword, culture sharing group. Ethnography focus on studying a group of people who share the same culture. The researcher wants to learn about their beliefs, behavior, and tradition. Next, categories and themes. The researcher collects data like interview and observation and then organize it into categories and themes. This helps to find pattern in the culture. Next, shared meaning among participants. Ethnography try to understand what things mean to the people in the group. They want to know how group members interpret their own action and beliefs. Next, field work. Ethnography spend a lot of time in the field, the natural setting of the group. They observe, take notes, and talk to people to collect data. Next, holistic description. The researcher tries to describe the culture as a whole. Think this means looking at all parts of the culture, like religion, family, work, and social life, and how they are connected. Next, take cultural description. The researcher writes a very detailed description of the culture. This helps reader feel like they are part of the culture and understand it deeply. Next, key informants. The researcher works closely with a few people in the group who know a lot about the culture. These people help the researcher understand the culture better. Next, ritual and practice. Ethnographers often study rituals like ceremony and daily practice like how people eat, eat, eat or work. These activities show important parts of the culture. Maybe enough from 10 keyword part of ethnography research design. Next will be delivered by Zafran.
Uh, okay, I want to explain part of narrative inquiry. First, storytelling. This is very clear because through stories we can understand the participants' experience and perfect perspective. Second, life history. This is also part of narrative inquiry since it's about a person's life journey that we can learn through a long narrative. Then we have lived experience. This is important because what we study is not just the events, but also how those events are actually felt by the person. Next, chronology matters too. A story always has an order, and it helps us see how experience develop over time. Next, turning points. There are important moments or big changes in life. Narrative inquiry pays attention to these moments because they often shape the story. Then intentionality. This is about the purpose or meaning behind someone's action. Narrative inquiries tries to understand why people make certain deci- decisions. Next, biographical. Biographical study is included as well because biography is basically a person's life story that we analyze through narrative. Then there's temporality, which means looking at the past, the present, and the future. This helps us see how someone's identity is shaped across time. Next, plot and character. Just like in any story, narrative inquiry also looks at the storyline and the people involved. And last, in-depth interview. This is the main method to collect stories with in-depth interviews. Researchers can get richer and more detailed information. Okay, next to
Okay, thank you,
part.
Zaf. So next is my turn. So I have content or documentary analysis. It's all about working with text, records, and documents. That's why it connects directly with coding, text, life experience, and frequency counts, like material data, interpretation, and themes. So the first one, I have systematic coding. Because coding is like putting labels on your data, It makes things organized and helps you see the patterns and build things. Like next we have document or text. So documents like reports, notes, or files are real evidence and they make your research stronger because you have to consult the data. Next, we have lived experience. Collecting people's real life experience makes your study more alive, and you can see their feelings and perspective, not just a number. Number four, we have multiple data source. When you combine different data source, like interviews, observation, and documents, you will finding become more reliable and more proof the better. Next, we have archival records. Like all records like school files, test scores, and meeting minutes help you see history and patterns over time. Next, we have frequency count, like simple counting, like how many times some things happened. This is so patterns more clearly. Next, we have description, not explanation. Qualitative research focuses more on telling the story and details, not always on cause and effect. It gives a real picture of what's going on. Next, we have textual interpretation. This is about finding meaning in text, not just reading the surface, but understanding the deeper message. Next, we have personal experience. Personal stories make the data more human and show unique perspective. Number 10, we have listening meaning or participant observation. Observation help you catch things people don't always say out loud, and you can see hidden meaning in behavior. At the end, you organize all your data in categories and themes so it's easier to explain and share with others. So that is key 10 keywords by content and documentary. Next, Khalid.
And now we come to the last type of qualitative research design. It's called phenomenology. And first, the keywords that we included in this part, in these types, is in-depth exploration. So phenomenology always tries to go deeper into a person's experiences, not just surface level description. And second,
We chose lived experience because phenomenology focuses on how people actually experience a phenomenon in their everyday lives. Next, we added a sense of meaning. So, the goal of phenomenology is to uncover the essence, the core meaning that all participants share in their experiences. And another important keyword is consciousness. So, in phenomenology, we look at how experiences appear in human consciousness and how people are aware of them. And we also selected bracketing or epoche. This is when researchers set aside their own biases and assumptions so they can focus purely on participants' experiences. And we also included transcendental experience because phenomenology goes beyond just the description of events and aims to capture a deeper, more universal understanding. Then there is phenomenological reduction, which means breaking down complex experiences to see their essential parts. And we also chose co-constructions of meaning. Since in phenomenology, meaning is often created together between the researcher and the participants. So, and another keyword is voices of participants. Their stories and perspective are central. Phenomenology values their voice above all. And finally, we also included textual interpretation because the researcher interprets and describes experience in rich, detailed narratives to reveal their true meaning. So there are five example cases, and we will identify it. Start from Nadia.
So, the study is basically a content or documentary analysis because the data come from document, especially English textbook. The main goals is to see how environmental issues are shown through the text, pictures, and experience and examples in the books. The researchers look at the both what clearly written or manifest content and what's limp, limpid or latent content. Then they code the data and count how often pretend themes appears. Next.
So this is the next case. So this study is considered phenomenology because it's all about exploring and understanding students' real experiences with learning English online. To do that, the researchers uses in-depth interviews to find out about the students' perceptions, the challenge they face, and the achievements they've had. At the same time, the researcher sets aside their own assumptions, so the focus stays on the students' actual experiences.
Okay, and next cases. So this study falls under narrative inquiry because it looks into the life story to EFL teachers based on their real experience. The researcher collect these stories and turn them into narratives, highlighting the teacher voices. Together with the participant, they build meaning from those stories, which then helps shape the teacher's teaching philosophy.
Um, so, this study is considered ethnographic research because it focuses on a group of English language learners in a community based after school program. The researcher actually goes into their real setting, watches how they interact, and even takes part in the activities to really understand um, their learning experiences. Maybe no. Next case will be delivered by Khalid.
Okay, so the fifth or the last case is this. So this research is a case study because it focuses on one specific school as a bounded system. The researchers take a thorough approach by collecting data from different sources like classroom, observations, teacher interviews, and even students' reading portfolio. So that's the end of our explanation of qualitative research design. So thank you for listening, and I hope you guys can understand it very well. Thank you.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye
Bye.
bye.